This is Todd Blanche, who was Trump's lead defender in this sham hush money trial where he just got a guilty conviction on all 34 counts of felony conviction in the state of New York, in the city of New York City. I want you to listen very, very carefully of how Mr. Blanche talks and describes the president, Mr. Trump, former president, Mr. Trump, his demeanor, his involvement, his astuteness, his character, his leadership. You're going to love this. This is a very in-depth, behind the scenes. I'm really, really impressed with Todd Blanche. You almost feel like you're right there with him. And being somebody who's an expert in Aristotle's principles of rhetoric and communications, and I've taught speech for 20 years at the highest levels, I can tell Mr. Blanche is not engaging in hyperbole. He is absolutely being objective, calm, emotionally devoid of any subjectivity, and he is telling it like it is. I want you to listen to this very, very carefully. He was on Fox News the day after he was convicted. I want you to listen to this. This is phenomenal.
I said this in the trial, but it's true. President Trump is an amazing man. He's president, he's running for president, and he has a public persona. He's also a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a friend to a lot of people. And so when you see that happen to him, and I was standing right next to him today, and it's heartbreaking because they're laughing at a man, at a father, at a husband, at a grandfather, and at somebody who's running for president and looks like will win. That's something that people should be troubled with, no matter who you're going to vote for.
What was his demeanor like in those moments?
Look, I've spent almost every day with him for 6 weeks. He's so impressive when it comes to somebody who's being on trial as a defendant. I don't know what it's like, but I've been around a lot of people who are on trial. It's hard. It's hard every day. And he was resolute, strong. We were all more upset than he was. We're all sitting there, and he said, "All right, let's go. What do I need to tell? What do I need to tell the American people right now?" And we told him, whatever's on your heart, whatever you want to say. And he said, "I got it. I got it." So we were all huddling in to give him counsel, and the man needed no counsel. And that's what he's been like. By the way, he's facing 3 more indictments. 3 more indictments, right? So you're talking about a man that's been indicted 4 times in 1 year in four different jurisdictions. 4 different jurisdictions, running for president and winning, and still able to just stand there and look at his staff, his team, a lot of great men and women that are around him every day, his lawyers, and just say, "You know what, I got this, let's go." And that's what he was like today for sure, which was a tough day, but that's what he was like every single day. I mean, there was a lot, everybody saw him every day. That wasn't a prop. Right? That's who he is. And he went into court every day, and he sat there, and he had questions, and he helped us, and he was committed to his defense and fighting every single day, which is what he has done for the past 8 years. And so he gave me confidence today. Everybody texted me, my friends and colleagues, "How are you doing? How are you doing?" I'm doing fine. I am. I'm doing great, and we're going to fight, wake up tomorrow and fight. Next week, my team and I are going to Florida, because we have another case that we have to fight in Florida, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go there, we're going to go into a skiff, and we're going to fight that case too, and we're doing that because he gives us the energy, and we're doing it to hopefully to help him.
How involved was Donald Trump in his own defense?
I mean, what do you think? I mean, very involved. And he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He jokingly said to us a lot, sometimes he wanted to be the litigator. He wanted to be the one that was actually arguing, because he's a smart guy and he knows what he's doing. We made every decision together. We did. And there were things that he was frustrated with. The judge several months ago, there was we wanted to be able to argue reliance of counsel, that to some extent President Trump was relying on his lawyer, and the judge didn't allow us to do that, and things like that, where he would really push us and say, "Well, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that?" It was an honor for me to spend the last 6 weeks with him, defending him. It didn't work out. I mean, we got a bad result today. It's not over. It's not over at all, but it was great.
Were you satisfied with jury selection? And was the former president involved in that in any way?
I mean, Very much involved. He was right there with the whole team talking about the potential jurors. Look, was I satisfied? We put a motion in because we said we could not get a fair jury in Manhattan. And that's not I'm not being disparaging to the jurors, man. They were great. They showed up on time every day. They were committed. They paid attention. But we're in a situation where we had a very limited number of people we could strike. And most of the folks, overwhelming number of folks, had a very strong opinion of President Trump, and it wasn't positive. And so imagine you, Jesse, going to trial facing 34 felony counts, and 100 people walk in the room, and the judge says, basically, if you have a strong view of Jesse Waters, you can go ahead and leave. Half the room leaves. Timing of this most recent grand jury, meaning the 2023 grand jury that ultimately indicted President Trump, kicked into action less than 2 months after President Trump announced he's running for re-election. And there are coincidences, and then there's coincidences, and I don't think that that's just something that happened. The witnesses in this case testified about meeting with prosecutors since year of our Lord, 2019, 2018, okay? And now they're meeting again in 2023, going into the grand jury to talk about a records case that has to do with 2017. I mean, I don't have to make much an argument there about what the situation is. It kind of writes itself.
Yeah. You put on a case. We couldn't see it. There were no cameras in the courtroom. Could you tell us tonight, the audience, what you said in closing?
Well, look, our closing was the same thing that we've been saying in our writing to the court and saying to the world for the past year, which is that you cannot convict the former president of the United States of crimes, supposed crimes that happened in 2015, 2016, 2017, when you're relying on the word of somebody who, it's not only that he is someone who's lied under oath in the past, but his life mission is to destroy President Trump. There is nothing wrong with that, by the way. To each his own. This is America. But it's not enough that he is dedicated to destroying President Trump. They're calling him as a witness at trial. And that really bothered me as a former prosecutor. It bothers me as an attorney, as somebody who's part of the judicial system for the past 20 years. There's people that really shouldn't be witnesses at trial. And I said, I'm not saying they didn't say in court, and not saying they didn't say, in filings. And so that's what we said to the jury. And they convicted today, and their verdict is their verdict, and we're gonna fight. Would
you have done anything differently? Is there a witness you said, oh, maybe I should have called that witness, maybe I should have done this?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that, man. Like, we had a team. My team is amazing. The folks that work with us they're brilliant, and then the president has a team, and they're brilliant, and we all did the best that we could, and I wouldn't change anything that we did. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be folks that are on your show that take a different view, and maybe I will too at some point, but no, we did the best we could.
But does Trump know how to pick him? I mean, this guy is calm, he's collected, he's intelligent, he's forthright, he's articulate. He obviously did an amazing job. It's funny, he was asked about his closing arguments. What did you say? I was there by the play-by-play and, the live takes coming out of each and every moment in court. And I'm telling you right now, his closing argument was succinct, to the point, evidentiary, substantive. He used concrete proof, and he didn't mince words. And his was less than 2 hours, whereas the prosecution essentially engaged in a filibuster, which I can't help but think, given all the evidence, given the fact that their entire case hinged on Michael Pinocchio Cohen, the most unreliable human being on planet Earth, that had some kind of sway over the jury. And this trial, whether you don't like Trump, you could hate Trump. And I love what he says there. It's your right. This is America. To each his own. Freedom of opportunity, freedom of choice. You can think and believe whatever you want in our country. But you look at this objectively. Take away that lens that masks your biases, and you cannot help, and don't take my word for it, there is a plethora of legal experts and scholars who say the exact same thing. This is a meritless case. And they instituted this 2 months right after he announced his re-election campaign. 2 months after? There's coincidences, as Todd Blanche says, and then there's coincidences. I really, really want to hear from you. What do you think of, I mean, you kind of always have this picture of somebody that you admire. You have this picture of a great leader. You have a picture of somebody who wants to fight for his country, wants to do the right thing. You've got evidence of an exemplary track record. I mean, the country was prosperous in every facet under Trump. And then you hear something like that, an inside, like fly on the wall, inside behind the scenes scoop. He says he was very involved. You know, we were the ones who were upset. He was the one who cheered us and supported us. He was very adamant about this or that, every decision. He did not just sit back and take a passive role. He was very active, very engaged. It just speaks to his acumen. It speaks to his leadership. It speaks to his cognitive ability. Some of these, whack jobs on the left are saying, "Oh, you think Biden's, incontinent? Look at Trump. He's sleeping." And it's all BS. This guy is astute. He's there. He cares. He has conviction. He actually, wants to be very, very proactive in every aspect of his life, every aspect of his campaign. He understands branding. He understands what his mission is, his goal is. He understands what the American people want. And it shows time and time again. He's not successful by accident. I don't care who you are. You're not successful by accident. I'm not successful by accident. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of critical thinking. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of things that you don't see. It's the unsexy stuff. You don't see behind the scenes the grit, the elbow grease, the long nights, the staying away from family, missing out on magical moments, missing out on a lot of things in your personal life because you're driven by a purpose. You're driven by a mission. And this isn't even the last of it. This guy's got every impediment, every obstacle imaginable from the woke mind, mafia, virus consortium of Obama, Clinton, Oprah, and the like. And lastly, you heard what Mr. Blanche says. This thing's far from over. If you missed my entire video on what happens next, where I went through case by case, study by study, point by point, what's going to happen after this guilty verdict, you got to go check that out. I'm going to put it right up here at the end of this video. At the end screen, it's going to be right up here. You can click on it or just go to my Rumble and YouTube page, and you will see it is titled, Trump verdict guilty, breakdown. What's going to happen next, essentially. It's far from over. As Todd Blanche says, it's far from over. I highly recommend you go watch that right now after this. But I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are your what are your perspectives? What do you think of what Trump's attorney Blanche said? What do you think of what happened in this case? What do you think about the verdict? What do you think about what's moving forward? Here's an even important question. I want to hear from you on this specificity. Where do you think you're leaning on what's going to happen and what you're going to do, the decision you're going to make on November 5th, the most consequential election of our lives? If you were going to vote for Trump, does this change your opinion? If you weren't going to vote for Trump, does this change your opinion? I want to hear from you. If you feel free enough to admit who you're going to vote for, I would love to hear that too. I'm trying to cull as much data as I can because I want to get our country back. I want to do everything in my power to get some sense of practicality, some return to the values and principles that our forefathers embedded into the fabric of this country. I want to get back to the Constitution. I want to get back to common sense. So your comments really, really help me. I may not be able to respond to all of them, but trust me, I do my whole soul best to read them all. Obviously, members and super chats and super thanks get top priority, but I want to do my best. So please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. If you made it this far, I have a free newsletter where you'll never miss out on the latest breaking news, top stories, current events as they happen before, and really they won't even cover it, but before mainstream media even does it. This is your one-stop shop. Become a Nez Nation Insider. It's in the pinned comment, show notes, and description. All you got to do is click on the link, click on the option for free newsletter. You give us your best email, and that's it. You're in. You get all this stuff right to your inbox. You'll never miss out. It's your sure-proof way, your fail-safe way of always being in the know. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right now. This is the video I was telling you about earlier. Make sure you check that out. Follow, subscribe, tap the like button. As always, God bless you, and may God bless America. I'll see you soon.